Well, in today's video, I want to share with you a recent acquisition of mine, and it's this beautiful little Radio Shack TRS-80 Color Computer Model 1, or otherwise known as the Coco 1. This is one of the computers that I've been wanting to add to my collection for quite a while, and actually I was really hoping to find a good Coco 3, but I had the opportunity to acquire this. And this little computer is just in really nice shape. I have not even cleaned it up yet. This is the condition that I got it in, where we don't have the paint wear on the front of the edge of the keyboard, not a lot of scratches and nicks, and it's just in really nice condition. The person I got it from said that it's fully functional, it's unmodified, and that's really what I was looking for if I was going to buy a Coco 1. Before we get started looking at this computer, I wanted to talk a little bit about my interest in the color computer. And this actually dates back to 1987. For me, I actually had the opportunity to work in a Radio Shack store for a period of time. It was a second job for me for a while. And at that time, we had a lot of computer tech in the store, and I even had a chance to train at a Tandy computer for a while when I was learning about the different systems that we had. And at that time, I was able to sell some of the Tandy 1000s. I know one of the hot sellers for me was the Tandy 1000 SX. And even at that time, we had a TRS-80 Model 4 still in stock and set up in the store. And then the other thing we had at that time was we had the Coco 3, and we had that set up in the front of the store, and we had little demos running on it, and we put it out there because it was really, we thought, a good starting computer for families with younger children or people just sort of getting interested in working with a computer for the first time. What the Coco did was it kind of filled this niche for somebody who didn't want to get really heavily financially invested in a computer, but still wanted to experience one or have one to play around with their kids. So I always said, hey, someday I am going to pick one of those up, and I never did. So between 1987 and 2023, it's always been my intention to add to my collection a color computer, and really especially the Coco 3. And this Coco 1 came up, and it just hit that right place, right time kind of thing, and I picked it up. Now for probably what people are interested in is seeing this thing work, and so that's what we'll move on to now. All right, we have our color computer all set up. So since this is the original version, the old Coco 1, it does not have any composite output, so I have it connected up to an older Sylvania flat panel TV. And it is set to good old channel 3, and we're ready to power it up and see what happens. Well, that's exactly what I expected to happen, because the person I got this from told me that it was fully functional and it was a basic unaltered 16K machine. So there we have it. We have Color Basic 1.1. So no extended Color Basic. And I do intend to add that, but that will be my only modification, is to put in a ROM for the Extended Color Basic. I'm not going to do a composite modification on this. I'm not even going to expand the 16K of RAM. I really want to keep this in original condition. Let's take a look at what we have with this particular Coco. And I love these old manuals. And don't you miss the days when you actually got a manual? Nowadays, all you get is sort of a warranty card, or if you're super lucky, you have a folded sheet of paper that has the getting started instructions, printed double-sided in about 10 different languages. And there's just nothing like actually having a manual. So they told you important things about your computer, like you needed a TV. It told you about its processor, which was a 6809E with a blazing 800 kilohertz clock speed, and about the accessories that you could have. So, you know, these manuals were sort of half familiarizing you with your computer and half sales pitch for buying other stuff for it. So, but what everybody needed to know back in 1980 and 81 was how to connect this to your television set with detailed diagrams. And connecting a cassette recorder is something I will be doing to this, not in this video, because I don't have any way to do that yet, and I need a cassette player that will work with this. So I am going to be building a cassette cable for it and trying to find a suitable cassette player, and I do have several different options kind of in my collection of old stuff, so we'll see about getting that going soon. All right, well, operation, we've already jumped the gun. I'm already on channel 3. It's hooked to a television set, and I've got my prompt. We have a reset button on the back. There we go. Handy feature. Not all computers had that. All right, and since it is a color computer, let's see. Let's do some color. So we have a clear screen instruction. I believe that's what this is. Yep. CLS, but if we clear the screen and give it a number, it's going to clear the screen and change the background color. Well, that's kind of cool. All right, and we can also do sound on this machine. So let's see what that does. Oh, I guess I better turn the volume up here on our trusty old television set. So there we go. And that was a sound. So check. Oh, and it looks like it doesn't keep your screen background color. Oh, and then it has this wonderful upper and lower case feature. And if you don't know about Coco's lower case, I don't think it's true of all of them, but certainly these first ones, if you do a Shift 0, you go into upper lower case mode, but when you actually type, you get basically inverted characters. They're calling inverted characters lowercase. And if we do upper case characters, it's just reverse highlighted. So oh, that isn't working now. That's interesting. I don't know if you noticed, but I was trying to clear the screen there, and if you have uppercase on and you try to type a command, it doesn't recognize that as the clear screen command. So I have to actually shut off upper lower case, and then the command works. Interesting. Anyway, I don't think that this really should have been defined as upper lower case. I think probably inverted or non-inverted characters. I think that most people would expect something completely different with upper and lower case. Okay, and they're advertising their joystick controllers here. Radio Shack number 26-3008, and I do have a pair of those. And the cassette recorder, what do they recommend? They recommend Radio Shack CTR-80A. And I do not have one of those, so we will be on a quest for an appropriate cassette recorder. That will probably be a different video. This is just kind of a quick first look at what I got with this Coco. Okay, well, more color. Let's do a couple of the short programs back here. We can do a color adjustment program, and I think that's just a color bar program, and a sound demonstration. I'm not going to do the video centering test because I think we're already pretty good there. So, all right. And I don't have really centering on this set. All right, here we go. Basic program for color adjustment. All right, we have our program entered, and I have to say that this keyboard works fairly well if you kind of one finger type. It just doesn't quite have the right feel, I don't think, for touch typing, but that's okay because I'm more of a hunt and peck typist anyway. So let's go ahead and run our program. Hopefully it's error free. There we go. So it's starting to draw colors. And the colors aren't going to look quite the same on camera as they do here. Yeah, like already, this is a really deep blue. Here, viewing it with my eyes, where on the camera it's kind of a paler blue. But still gives us the idea. So we're doing our color stripe test, and not on the camera, but here to my eye, looking at the TV, those colors are really pretty close. So I don't think we need to do a lot of color correction on the TV set or anything like that. So, well, neat. And you notice that that program executed with blinding 800 kilohertz speed. All right, let's break out of that. Nice bright red break key. Love that. Let's clear our screen and start a new program. And we are going to do the sound demonstration. All right, let's see what kind of sound this will produce. Well, that was impressive. As all the Commodore 64 owners out there laugh hysterically. But this is an interesting little machine. It truly is. And as I look at this, and look at this, the manual actually has things like the pinout for the cassette interface. You could actually open the user's manual and you can make your cassette interface cable. All right, it has a limited warranty of 90 days, was limited warranty. And I do remember from back when I was working at Radio Shack, we actually did, I think, a really good job back then of standing by our warranties. And there were a lot of times where if people had problems that we could resolve just kind of in store when they brought these machines in, we didn't really pay a lot of attention to, has it been 90 days? It was really, if we can help you figure it out, we'll do that. So it's times like this when I sit and I have my hands on this old technology and I see that Radio Shack logo, the nostalgic feelings really hit me. And I truly, truly miss the old school Radio Shack stores. And I'm not talking about the later stores that were essentially Sprint phone stores with a few electronic items in it and a couple of clock radios, things like that. I mean the old school Radio Shack stores with the parts selection and the science fair kits for kids and their own computers that were built by Tandy Corporation. You know, even into the 90s when they had, you know, the later model IBM compatible computers, some of the computer stuff in Radio Shack was just really good. And I know we could argue about, you know, what were the best computers at any given time, and a lot of people wouldn't think it would be a Radio Shack computer, but I know back in the 80s when I was working there and selling the Tandy 1000 line of computers, it was so easy to show people that had been out looking at other brands what those computers could do, the extra color modes they had, and just the features that were packed into them for the price. I actually would argue that Radio Shack computers back then were just one of the best buys. And then just thinking early on, the early TRS-80 computers at the very front end of that kind of home computer race, when we started seeing, you know, the Apple II and the PET computer, and I don't know. It just, like I say, the nostalgia hits hard. And I think that was a time for me when computers and home computers were just super fun. Now they're just sort of these appliances. And I'm probably speaking fighting words, and I'm not saying that I don't enjoy doing a lot of things on my modern computer, because no, that would be a lie. I do. You know, between my tablet, my phone, my computer, those are great devices for doing all kinds of things. But there was just something special about these old computers. So this chiclet keyboard, the silver color, you know, this is the stuff that only happened in the 70s and 80s. You don't see this kind of thing on computers now. And some people are saying, thank goodness, I don't think we should see this on computers nowadays. But it was such a cool thing. Anyway, that's all I really have today in talking about this TRS-80 Color Computer 1. You'll see this again. I'm going to work on making that cassette cable, searching out a cassette deck and putting that together, using this a little bit further and see what kind of things we can do. But I'm thrilled to have this. Been wanting one of these for years, and having the original one in this great condition is super fun for me. Well, that's all I have for today, and thanks for watching.